Where do you see yourself in 5 to 10 years? An aspiring entrepreneur, a business leader walking the streets of Manhattan, or a family man taking his children to show their legacy? In all walks of life, the passion and drive to succeed starts with you and the way you dress. Hello and welcome. My name is Nick, a student at Marist College. Today, I have the privilege of interviewing Aki Ashe, the managing partner of Ashe Capital Company, a leading real estate investment firm, about his recently published book, The Power of Dressing: How Dressing for Success Can Change Your Life, can transform your life. Aki, it is great to speak with you today. How are you?
I'm doing very well today. Thank you for having me. How are you?
I'm doing pretty well. I'm doing pretty well. Really excited to learn more about the book and jump into it. So, tell me about the story about how you were inspired to write The Power of Dressing.
So, how I was inspired to write this book, The Power of Dressing. I just want to show a little copy of it. How I was inspired to write this book. Um, it's actually kind of crazy. I actually didn't go to school to be like a writer or anything in journalism. Um, about 5 years before I actually wrote this book, I had a small business that I started from my Brooklyn one-bedroom apartment. It was called Brooklyn United Ties. And I used to basically make a small order of ties for myself, neckwear that I used to make. And as I'm making these ties for myself and wearing them around town and to work, I started getting compliments on them. As I'm getting the compliments on these ties, people are asking to do orders. So I'm selling each tie maybe like one for $50, right? So I do that for maybe about the first 6 months, um, until eventually I get a phone call from the college of which I graduated from, John Jay, and they end up like placing a very, very big order. At this time, I actually don't have like a big organization or a big structure in place to fulfill, let's say, 10,000 ties. I don't have it. So I had to go through the challenges that of finding a manufacturer, whether it was overseas, whether it was locally here in the New York City community. I finally found a factory. I started fulfilling those orders. The word spread. I end up getting contracts with other public and private schools throughout New York City. Um, and then uh, word gets back to a college in Brooklyn that I'm doing this. They end up purchasing. I go into contract with them. They actually purchase some ties from me, and then the president of a college calls me and said, "Hey, can you speak to my college students about your success story of how you know, started your first business from your home or whatever?" So I said, "Yes." I go in. I do like maybe a 2-hour presentation about a small business, how to start it, how to market it, and things of that nature. And then I gave like a small little presentation on dressing for success and things of that nature. And from that presentation, the teacher of that class asked me to um, write things down, kind of like a worksheet or some type of brochure that I can leave with the students as I left. So I end up um, writing out like a worksheet, and I get some brochures. So after my presentations, I'm able to leave my this education with the students. um, and then from there, a teacher gives me an idea. She's like, I think you might have enough content to actually start to make a book. I'm like, I had no idea how to write a book, make a book, publish a book. I don't even know who to go to. So long story short, my first book is called The Power of Perception, which is like it was a really small book. It was a 30-page book. I found a independent publishing company in Brooklyn. They actually took a chance on me. They like published a lot of my books. I believe I end up one day I printed out like 500 copies of this small book. It was very, very small. A lot of my friends and family were laughing at me. They're like, "This ain't a book. This is just like a small little flyer, something of that nature." But I knew that I was gonna build on it eventually. Um, so I end up giving about 500 copies to the school. About a month later, I end up getting a $10,000 check from the president of that college after from like doing a good deed and through talks and different things of that nature. So that's like my initial start into writing. And then when I had that 30-page book, I said I want to improve on that book. I want to at least get it to 200 pages. Now this book, I believe, is about 210 pages. This is the hard copy of it. And yeah, I built on this book ever since, and I changed the name to The Power of Dressing.
So can you tell me a little bit about how your career led you to write this book?
Yeah, so my career, so from from the exposure and from my having my small business and explaining
Yeah.
that to the college students, that kind of led me to um writing this book, The Power of Dressing. um yeah.
Yeah, so it definitely seems like you took those like small business ideas where you were just on the street working through it, created it, and it was kind of shaped through that education. And it seems like a really interesting just path to take. How were you, say, what challenges did you face, especially trying to publish that? I know you said like your family were like, hey, this is like a little pamphlet or something, but what challenges does it take to actually publish your own book? I can only imagine that it's a long journey.
Yeah, it definitely was a challenge, um to actually do it, to actually find somebody that would actually take like a chance on me. So I went to several companies. A lot of the big companies didn't want it. They said it was too small, like it was only 30 pages. So I just kept sending it out, knocking on doors until somebody said yes. I had a feeling like if I go to 100, I'm like, at least one's gonna say yes. Like
Yeah,
the odds of that, it's just like an odds game. You're like, somebody's gonna be like, okay.
yeah. And they're going to publish it. But you kept
Yeah,
persevering and pushing through. Why did you keep doing it?
kept
Why?
pushing.
What made you feel like? What made you publish that book and say, "I want to do this"?
I wanted to spread a message. Like my whole goal, I was like, I just want to get it something physical copy and just give it out. Like even before that, I had it on like brochures, and I was, printing things on brochures and just handing the like brochures out. So I was like, if I can do this on a brochure, it's like a natural progression. Like if you don't give up, like it's like compound interest almost, like how they talk. Like you might even like with like anything. If you start out small, no matter how small it is, you do that first step, and then like once you do the first step, you'll be shown the second step, and then you do the second, then you're shown the third. But you're not gonna know like what the third step is if you don't do the second. Like you don't see all the way. You don't see the whole steps. You can only see what is today, and
Yeah,
then before you know it, like you're just like, how did I make it in here? How did this even happen? And it was because you took those small little steps. And then as you take those small steps, you meet people and it's going to open up opportunity. So you keep going, and then you meet like one or two people and it opens up the whole world for you.
definitely.
That's kind
It
of how
seems
it
like,
went.
especially even staying connected to your college, staying connected with your education, and then even the business world where you learn that these leaders and you're like putting it into that book. So it seems like the power of dressing, but also the power of staying networked and connected in a way.
That's right. Yeah. Yes. Yes. It's all part of, it's like the power of dressing, and the power of courage. It gives you courage, opportunity. Different people are attracted to you, like like-minded people, and it all seems like it works out. It all seems like it builds on one thing. It all, so.
It definitely does. It definitely does. So the power of dressing. Can you give us a few of your key takeaways that you think are the most important to take away that you think someone should know and remember?
Yeah, I think the most important thing with the power of dressing is like the power of first impression. So I think like if a person is going to a job or whatever, say they're going to be an accountant, an attorney, or any type of job, maybe nurse, doctor, or maybe they're a entrepreneurial doing like a pitch deck or a presentation to investors or something. I think it's important to possibly wear a suit if you can, or, some type of dress attire if it's for like a woman in the equivalent. Um, and I think that sets like a presence for you. And I feel like your presentation for some reason goes better. People take you more seriously. And at the end of the day, I feel like you're gonna have an advantage over like another person that maybe went in there, not as maybe had let's say, a better idea, but maybe the presentation he wasn't projecting, and he didn't get the job versus you got the job over him because of that. So that's what I have seen. It seems like, it works, even though they look at like Steve Jobs, or they look at like Mark Zuckerberg, and they're like, oh yeah, just like show up in a t-shirt. I mean, I guess that works if you're already me. Or, but and I guess it all depends on like what job you're going for. Some jobs you can wear a t-shirt, jogging pants, whatever, nobody cares. But I guess it just all depends where you're.
So how do you gauge that and think, how do I have like where do you find that gauge to not overdress, not underdress, but find that right balance of having the power
I
to dress?
Right. So I always like to go overdressed, because when you're overdressed, like, you can always take off stuff. But if you're
Yeah.
underdressed, you can't really, you got nothing to put on. So I always like to be over prepared than under prepared. Um, but I think that it's good to look at the culture of the company, of the job that you're applying for. So, like, you know, if you're whatever job you're applying for, you do some like research online. Okay, what's the culture? How are these people dressing at work? And then just try to like blend in with them. Whatever they look like, you try to, um, look like the same thing. So I remember back when, I think I had like an internship, and I remember, I think it was for like a music record label, and I would like come in like suits and stuff every day, and like one of like the like top execs was like, "Oh, you don't really need to dress in a suit and tie, because we're like dealing with like creatives, and they don't really care about that stuff." And so, it was still interesting, but I still had like a blazer on. I still, it just I just felt comfortable in that. That's all.
Yeah. But in a way you're almost like kind of outwardly appearing like, hey, this is how I feel. I'm wearing the suit. I'm ready to go. And do you think you're treated differently in like a positive way?
For sure, for sure. I definitely know that I was, treated differently, and things of that nature. And I feel like you kind of treat yourself differently too. I think you respect yourself more when,
Yeah.
like, it just makes you feel good. Like, you
Mhm.
eat, you're clean, you feel good, and great things happen to you.
Yeah, especially say for the young entrepreneur who's looking to start their career, and maybe if they're trying to
Yeah.
emerge as like playing bigger, or they're not taking it seriously. Do you think dressing to impress is the most important there, or for someone more established in their career?
I think when you're like believing in yourself and putting your name on the line of that LLC company or that corporation, and you're like a one person show or two-person show, I think that's even more, because now you're representing like as you represent yourself, you're you almost have to portray like you're representing 100 people that's not yet in your company, but your
Yeah.
vision of one day will be.
So I hear you have a jewelry collection inspired from the book too.
Yes, yes, I do. I have a jewelry collection inspired from the book, and like most of the jewelry is names from the book. So the book is named The Power of Dressing. So I have like necklaces for women, that say power on them. Other have necklaces that have the logo of the book on it, power for women. I have also have like tennis bracelets, for women, that we designed. Um, so I will eventually, at some point, I would have a power of dressing fashion show. So the power of dressing fashion show might have it at colleges, and other places as well. Um, and then this is like a jewelry collection. This is like watches for men. You see the Aki Ashe and Co watch. We have them in silver. And this right here, I want to show you one of my ties. When I first started, this was like, what I used to put my ties in was these bags. This is when I was an entrepreneur, out of my uh, living room, with my girlfriend. We were doing this together, bagging up, bagging up ties, and just wanted to show. Here's one of my ties here. Has my signature on it. This is like from the author signature collection. And you can
Wow.
actually, You can actually buy these on either akiash.com or 50stopstour.com.
Wow.
And these are, ties I used to wear to work and stuff. People used to give me compliments, and and here I am now. And also, I'm also making nice more watches, but they'll have like um, book related prints on them, and things of that nature. And our plan is to give out scholarships every year. Give out scholarships to people either transition from high school to college, or they're in college and they need help with um, paying for a class, and or paying for books and things of that nature. So that's kind of the goal.
Definitely. Definitely. That's really interesting. And that was all inspired from your book, The Power of Dressing, to transition into a jewelry line too.
Yes, yes. And also what inspired from the book is I just put together an event. It's called the Power Player Awards. So basically inspired from the book again, based off all the people that I met um, through my networking and things of that nature. I put together an event. It's called the Power Players Awards. If you want to check it out, you can go to powerplayerawards.com. And I'm going to be honoring authors, filmmakers, business leaders, and community leaders. So our first author that we're going to honor is Aloyda Lewis. In this coming September, she actually just put out a book. She's 81 years old. And basically, it's a interesting story how she basically came here as a Filipino immigrant. She ends up going to college, becoming an attorney. She marries. She has a couple kids. Um, and then at age 50, her husband passes away, and now she has to run a $1 billion empire as this Filipino woman. So, she's worth $1 billion. Now she's got to manage. She was managing uh, 64 companies in 33 countries. So not even countries in the US. Like these are businesses like overseas. Like how does somebody even manage all that stuff? It's beyond me. Um, so yeah, so we're finding, other authors and best-selling authors, people in that nature, and showing honor to them as well, not just myself. So yeah.
That's amazing that you can do that and have that community outreach to share these spectacular stories. Also, like similar to your own too.
Right. Absolutely. I'm like kind of trying to get there. I'm not on her level yet. I don't know if I will be one day, but I'm just, doing what I can do, just like one step at a time, one step at a time, whatever I can see. I just do that move and then do the next and
And keep going through like
just
that.
keep going. That's it.
So what's your next move? Any future plans for books?
Yeah, so my future plans for books, I just partnered with my real estate attorney, Giselle Rosado, and we're doing a Power of Real Estate book series and a Power of Business um, series or whatever. And you can go to, if you want to apply or be a part of that book series, you can go to www.powerofrealestatebs.com, and then you can tell you how to submit your story or how to contact us, reach out to us to be interviewed, or send your own writing to us to possibly be featured. So that's kind of um, the next journey. And also we also publish writings. We're also looking to publish other writings of other people. So if people have manuscripts and books that they have written, they can send it to me and we can read it and we can try to publish the work of that author. So
Yeah. So it started with the power of dressing, and it started with
uh,
the 20 page the small pamphlet, and it's grown to this whole it's cascaded. So
yeah,
that's really interesting. So we could reach out to what are the links to reach out to if we
we have. So the main link to reach out to is akiash.com. So if you
Okay.
reach out to akiashe.com, you reach out to that, and that is basically the center hub that's going to tell you about the power of real estate book series, power business book series, and everything else that we have going on.
Great. Great. So can you leave us with any future inspirations or words of hope or words of wisdom?
Yeah, I think my words of wisdom, I would like to leave a quote from Jim Rohn, and he says, for things to change for you, you have to change. So you have to be the change first, not anything else around you.
That's a great quote to end on. I think it's perfect in this ever-changing environment. I can't wait to read more about how to improve my own dress and the power of dressing. We should be sure to check out akiashe.com for jewelry and power of real estate.bs.com to send in our real estate submissions or tell us about any exciting stories we've had. Aki, thank you so much for speaking with me and imparting this wisdom.
Thank you for having me. Thank you. I appreciate it.